Hey, good morning, YouTube. This is an unannounced chat. It's a chat for the community members and for crew members. Oh, I left the lid off my bin over there. I'm gonna have to fix that. Um, three podcasts this week, and not this week, two this week, three total. And I kind of wanted to chat with you guys and see if you'd watched them and what you thought about them. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of chill out for, the first 10 minutes or so, and then not 10 minutes, couple of minutes until some of you guys show up, and then we will get into a discussion. So I guess I'm in here. That's the first person. I'm in my own chat. No, it's Highlander. Cheers and shalom, Mother Kate. Shalom. So what you doing this morning? I am out in my orchard with my ducks. I've like given them their food, and I've dumped out their water and refilled it with fresh water. There's Timothy Young. Good morning. Top of the morning. I watched all three of the Bob interviews last night. Awesome. So you are a perfect crew member to start this conversation off. What did you think about those? Good morning, Glenn Wilkerson. Good morning, NWA Prepper. Beautiful day in Oklahoma, says Timothy Young. The Greek Homestead. Morning, Atrafy Katerina, Sister Kate. Good morning, Greek Homestead. I'm trying to get you guys. Um, I want to find out what you thought about the podcast and if you thought there was something else. I think you're entirely sweet and well spoken from experience. I want your book. Awesome. Good. There's Yeti Mama. Good morning. I don't have my tea this morning. I've got water. Um, the book update. Amazon now has the book at the correct price. Hey, Palmetto, Paratrooper. Shalom. Has it at the right price. And if you're a Prime member, it is free shipping. It's also on Walmart.com and Barnes and Noble and eBay, which I think is interesting. It's on Poshmark and one or two other places. So it's available now, and the correct price is $13. So if you see it for any more than that, don't buy that. Buy it at 13, but it's on Amazon now. Finally, right? Took them forever to get it on there, right price, a picture of the cover, all of that. That is a steal. Well, wait till you read it, and then you can let me know. Um, did anybody else watch the podcasts, and what did you think of it? There are two others. There's the one across the table with Bob. There's one on Sabbath Lounge, who are, we actually had to do a joint live. We're the ones who had the technological, techie difficulties between their podcast setup and my junky little phone and my hotspot Wi-Fi. But we did do a joint uh, YouTube live stream, and it is posted on my channel and their channel. So it's Sabbath Lounge with Matt and Jake. And then the third one is with Heart of a Torah Woman. Her name is Sharon, and we did a joint live too because again, she has some sort of podcast software, but my junky little phone, I can't put any more apps on it. I don't have a lot of memory, and so we did a joint live YouTube live, and that's up now on her channel and mine, Heart of a Torah Woman, and here at Sister Kate. And NWA Prepper, thank you for all your veteran positive Instagram messages yesterday. They were awesome, especially the ones where you were at the first veterans um, cemetery. That was really cool. All right. I bet you're answering, and it's just taking a while for my phone to download them. There's Jesus. Shalom. Thanks for being channel supporter. The one with Bob is very high on my list to listen. Unfortunately, we've been very busy. Well, it's still there, Greek Homestead. You don't have to, it'll be there on their channel for, you know, however long they want to keep it up. So you don't have to worry about that. Why don't you tell me what you've been busy with? Also, we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Like this particular live is mainly for my channel members and the crew and subscribers and commenters and everything. So anything. Bob is an awesome host. He is. He's very good. You can tell he thinks about what he's going to ask his different guests. He has interesting commentary. Um, he's got a great smile and he's got great energy. So it was so much fun, and we all agreed, Andres, Bob, and I, we could have talked for hours. We really could have. Now I'm sure that's the way it is with all their guests, but we just had a really nice time when I was there. So yeah, just great, great fun, great experience, especially for my first podcast because I wasn't sure what to expect, and it worked. So she's busy with the kids, the animals, and life. It has been raining through the whole month of May. I am not exaggerating. I have some lively squash from Experimental Farm Network. Wait a minute. I've never heard of that. Experimental Farm Network. That's kind of a cool idea. They have awesome genetic stock. Experimental Farm Network. Well, y'all take that down as a note. Absolutely. I watched all three. I really like how thoughtful you were in explaining things in the earlier portions of your life as a military wife. It was nice to see the interaction. Yeah, I've got everybody has stories. Of course, everyone has a history, but I don't often, I won't say get a chance. It's just that PJ, whenever we're out together, is in the limelight and he's telling his stories. And mine, when I'm here on the channel, I feel a lot of pressure to do a good video. I've already talked to y'all about that, and y'all just said, talk about what you like, which was really good advice. But I'm supposed to be telling stories too on if you're a crew member, if you're like a neo pioneer level. I'm supposed to be sharing stories. And then I get so busy, I don't always remember. There are some uploaded at the neo pioneer level. Um, but I don't, it's not always oh yeah, that thing. I've got to be talking to somebody about dogs. And then I have stories about dogs, or an age. Because yesterday I was at a Shavuot thing with a lot of awesome brothers and sisters, and one of the brothers shared with me things about his young life that formed how he acts in public, and it was his age and what happened at that time in his life that spurred in me, like, yeah, I was 10 and my father passed away, kind of thing. So I don't always think about that. It was a long time ago, but that's what brings them out. I go to the National Cemetery each Memorial Weekend just to visit a few graves and meet new ones, always with a few coins in my pocket. Aw, I enjoyed the podcast with Bob. Seriously good hybrid seeds. Problem with hybrid seeds, I mean, if you want to, produce a lot of food, hybrids are really great, but you're not going to be able to keep going with that. Hybrids don't produce the same plant every year, supposedly. You tell me, you're on that network, maybe they figured out a way to make that happen. That's why I planted Rutgers uh, tomatoes, because Rutgers tomatoes are for um, canning. They all are medium sized and all come ripe at the same time, and they're an heirloom, so that you can have them, you know, every year. Let's see. There's Heart of a Torah woman there. Speaking of, there's Miss Sharon. Y'all say hi to her. Let's see. Hey, Sue says, I'm ditch digging, just stopped to catch my breath, working on water drainage. And isn't that important? Where did I just talk about that? I don't know if I did that on a video or not. It's definitely in my book. Water drainage is a thing. And if you're like Greek Homestead and you're got rain for an entire month, you need to have a good place for that rain to go to, for you to catch some, but also that it doesn't wash away things and ruin your driveway and all that, because a month of rain is a lot of rain. Thank you for doing you, says Trying and Doing. That's why I am here. Thank you for supporting the channel, Trying and Doing, and all your comments. I really enjoy them. I, they are technically great, a Grex not F1. There's huge diversity there, though. Yes. Yeah, the diversity now I can see is it being very fun. You know what I'm saying? And there's Teresa Jukowicz, longtime channel supporter. Hello. Thank you for being a channel supporter, Teresa, and for doing all the things that you do. Don't forget to say hello to Sharon of Heart of a Torah Woman. Good morning, says Smiling Mary. Yeah, another channel supporter. Good morning, lady. How are you? Have you been able to watch the podcast at all or anything? No problem, says Teresa. I should make you a moderator. I bet I can't right now, though. Let me see. Yeah, no. I'd have to do that after this was over. Would you be okay being a moderator, Teresa? Let's see. Yes. Okay, cool. You watched. All right. So anything else? Any tips? Any pointers on the interviews? I'll wait a second for that. And then how many of you celebrated Shavuot? Pentecost. Podcast was too short, laugh out loud. I am a moderator. I already have a wrench, says Teresa. Well, I don't see a wrench on there. I guess the picture for channel member took the place of the wrench because your name is in blue. Good. You guys be careful because Teresa will just work that wrench. Let's see if I can see. Is that a something? All right. I think it was perfect. I love the question asked that led to stories we have not heard. Just wanted to say hi, listening and driving, says the lamp keeper. Lamp keeper, is your book now in production? Yeah, your title is blue. Hers is green. Lamp keepers. That's got to mean something too. Thank you to the moderators. Absolutely. I've got several now. I'm supposed I think it's online etiquette that you have everybody's email and then when you're going to do a live, you email them beforehand. But I have not done that thing yet. I just figure at least one of them will show up. Okay, so it's not yet. Is it still in the editing? You're driving, so I mean, maybe you don't want to answer my questions, but Lamp Keeper's written a book. It will come out on Debarim Publishing. Um, it's a novel and it's a real book. Like it's 200 to 300 pages or something, and supposedly really good. So waiting for that to come around to manifestation. Email sister. Yes, this is the hubby. It's the one who's texting. Um, you could email me, Teresa, if you. It's Morrigan, Morrigan 55 at hotmail.com. But even if you email me, you know how scatterbrained I am. I cannot promise that I would remember to email you before a live. But we can try it. I used to do that with this wonderful, oh my gosh, I think she lived in Japan, lady. Man, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. She was a great moderator. And then she and her husband died of heart attacks, like within a close span of each other, just a year or two after I got online. And I was like, oh my gosh, we lost the best moderator in the world. I want to say it had something to do with Panda, but I seriously can't remember. Is that the one that is fiction that Deborah Publishing shared about? Yes, I believe so, Sharon. Ms. J. Thank you, SK. Well, thanks, Ms. J. Welcome to the channel. I don't remember seeing you on a live stream before. Good morning. It's a wonderful morning here. Sunny, low 80s. I've got to wash dishes today, which is a whole thing. Got to get the water out of the water catchment, carry it into the house, heat it up, pour it into the bins, do the wash. And then I should be paying bills. Oh man, I'm impressed with this brown duck over here. She is catching flies and eating them as they land on the ground. If I can get her in the photo. She's right over there. And of course she stopped doing it. Like, girl, get your protein on. Congrats. Let's see what that is. Congrats on the book. I loved hearing how you sat on it for a bit before publishing with Debaran. Yeah, it was good. It was our first rollout. She and I rolled that book out. Well, no, it wasn't really her first. Her first was People in the Pews. And then she did I Saw the Earth Wake Up, which is a children's book. But I'm her first book that she published that wasn't her own book. So we rolled that book out together. And having watched my husband do his, excuse me, I knew we had to market it a bit. Like I knew I was going to have to talk about it, but because I'm who I am, I didn't want to be like, woo, 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 like, buy my book, buy my book. But I had to announce it and at least say it was available. And she wanted to get information out too because the rollout is also for her publishing company, which is fantastic. I mean, it was soon after she announced that Lamp Keeper and two other authors, she's got another book out now too, How We Eat, I think. Um, it picked up for her, which is great. It's what we want. And also for me. I mean, my long-term goal for that book is that it be one of those books that homesteaders have in their library because it's a quick reference. And the most compliments I've gotten on that book have been about the calendar in the back, which is nice. I mean, everything in it I tried to put so it would help people, but apparently that calendar really strikes certain personality types, probably the kind that like to lay everything out, like um, spreadsheets and things like that. So yeah, yes, that is the title, and it is amazing. The one about food sharing, because I haven't read that. Yeah. So tell me about your Shavuot celebrations, y'all, if you had one. Highlander, I can't wait to read it. That sounds very useful. Thank you. Right on. Um, well, I'll tell you about mine. Why We Eat, that one, yeah, so good. Oh, good for you for getting it. That's awesome. I haven't looked at it yet. I'm, getting older, trying to eat what we're supposed to eat. Got that message. Um, Pastor and I are still, a salad a day at least if we can. We did a lot of walking recently because we ate a lot of food recently, just trying to walk off some of the calories. Oh, that reminds me. Emery and FK, good books for any prep library. Didn't realize it was Shavuot. Still learning. Well, yeah, it's 50 days after first fruits, which is in the week of unleavened bread, which is also at around the time of Passover. There's actual 8 days of feast at that time. Trying to look for something. I guess I'll do it after. Speaking of eating, come with me. A little walk with me through my orchard here and look at what is going on right here. No, I won't do it like that. I guess I can try to find one. I can keep it on the tripod. So I was walking past the pear tree. See if I can get that. All right. Tripod down right here. This is one of the things I'm going to do while I'm down here be, besides that live stream. Look at that. That is a wild black raspberry. They are ripe right now. In my area, those little guys, they get ripe before the blackberries do. And so down here, what I've been trying to do is make sure that the weeds don't overtake. And so this whole area under the pear tree and around the corner, wild black raspberries. Oh my gosh, they're so tasty. And because I've been trying to cultivate them, I am going to make jam out of them this year, just like I did last year. It was so good. Then right here, let me see if I can get up under that. You see that in my hand? That is wild grapes in their baby stage. So the new growth, the bunches come on the part of the vine that is new growth, not your old growth. And this one is getting trained across these supports, and I need to get a bigger support. So, yeah, we are definitely trying to eat good. And something else that's happening in our garden, in the main garden, is chard. We've got chard ripe now and peas. So we've been eating salads with the chard and the peas in them. Let's see who else. I don't have any other comments. Did you guys comment? We're in the process of moving, so no garden this summer. Oh, that's, I feel for you. I mean, moving is stressful, and garden is such a joy when you get one in. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope your move goes well. There's Rachel. Thank you for being a channel supporter. The kids are very much enjoying their kitten they got at Chabot. Yeah, the kitten part is not required in the Bible. It's when your friends have kittens and you show up with children. They're like, "Oh, you need one, right?" They approached us too, and I said, "Absolutely not. No way. We have enough issues with the one cat we have. She's just found she's starting to show up and left us half a pack rat and she got a hold of a chipmunk. Ugh, it's pretty gruesome. Yeah, no kittens. But as far as the whoa, there's a lot of stuff. Here's Patty Sanchez. Shalom. For sure, when we moved, it was one truck household, two truckloads of plants, and several loads of garbage and a dump run. Right? It's so many things. We're planning to get one later this summer, Zone 9B, so we'll have time. Yes, you will. You'll be able to grow all sorts of stuff in 9B. There's Patty Sanchez, a channel supporter and a sister in the faith. Shalom. Good morning. Are you moving sometime soon? 9B in Sacramento. Oh, how are the homeless in Sacramento? I'm seeing the reels on the Instagram of the streets of Sacramento with all these tents and vans and everything and homeless everywhere. We are getting strawberries every day. I got one strawberry. I don't have enough strawberry plants to be getting them every day, but I got one and it was good. Tomatoes and onions soon. Yep, my Egyptian onions I'm taking the greens off of, and peppers are starting to show as well. I've been picking the buds, the blossoms off the peppers so that the plant can get a bit bigger, and then I'm gonna let the blossoms become the fruit. Shalom, SK, Prepa family. Shalom. Teresa's got to run. Thanks for dropping by, Teresa. Sigh. Sacramento is a third world country. That's too bad. That's politics. I'm 100 miles north of you. Ooh, Smiling Mary. You're in that state? Ooh. I drive by the main camp 2 times a day, a solid reminder to count one's blessings. Exactly. And to look at decisions being made at your higher levels because Sacramento was not always like that. California was not always a bankrupted socialist state. So anyway, Shavuot for trying and doing. It's 50 days after the spring feast. It's right in the middle. It's usually in May for us. And at first, I was like, well, whatever. But it's a very significant feast, a biblical feast. Yeah, and if you're not into these sort of things, then this part of the live stream is going to be boring for you. But it is when Moses came down from Mount Sinai and presented the tablets of stone. And you have to know the calendar and the way it works biblically because there are clues that it is that time of year when that happens. And so you get the law given on Shavuot, and then in Acts 2, especially around verse 41, but the whole thing, it's talking about the Spirit being given when the apostles are in Jerusalem together, which they normally do around the feast day. And the timing, again, when they're there, and the rushing mighty wind, and all sorts of little clues. There was a big wind on the mountain before Moses went up. Um, there was the sound of the shofar. And when he came back down, 3,000 people were slain for their, worshiping that golden calf by the Levites, slain by the Levites, worshiping the golden calf that Aaron fashioned. Well, after the Spirit is given during the Pentecost with the apostles in it, after Yeshua is it after he's sacrificed or before? Acts, it would be after. Um, there's that rushing mighty wind, and 3,000 people in the 41st verse come to Jesus. So you get 3,000 killed for their disobedience and 3,000 brought into the faith. Now it's, thousands of years apart, but around the same feast. So you've got the law and the Spirit in one in that day, which is really, really interesting to me. But then when you start talking to believers, so many spiritual things are happening around that day as well. Good things. We had a lamb born. We had chicks that hatched out. You know, um, it also ties in with during the plagues, the 10 plagues in Egypt. In the first one, it's the barley harvest. The first part of those 10 plagues, the barley harvest is destroyed. I'm pretty sure it's the locusts. They eat most of that. Well, those plagues go on for a while because at the end of those plagues, the wheat harvest is also destroyed. The barley harvest is around Passover. The wheat harvest is Shavuot, and it's a wheat make bread offering around Shavuot. So it also ties in there. And then that is linked with, tied to whatever you want to say, like relates to the story of the wheat and the tares, because it's talking about the harvest. You've got tares and wheat, and the tares look like the wheat. And so when the servants figure out that in this field, the wheat and the tares have both been sown in there, they go to the master, who would be Yeshua, and say to him, hey, do you want us to go out there and cut all or pull all these plants out? And he says, no, not so, because you may pull out the good plants, the wheat, when you pull out the weeds. And so that's a lesson. And then at the end, when the wheat is harvested, when wheat is ripe, the head will bow down. It'll curl over, but the weeds head stays upright. And to me, that's symbolic of pride. A stiff neck won't bend. A stiff neck stays upright. And so there's a whole big significance to it as a holiday. And I just really, it was brought home this year. There was so much going on there. So I like it. All right. My family is not farmers. We have 4 generations of growing ganja. That doesn't sound like a very, what do you call it? Much kind blessings last night. Shalom. Been planting in the garden this morning before it gets too hot out. Tell me what you've been planting last night. 4th generation farm family. Nice. I love anywhere north of Sacramento. I grew up here. It was a cow town. Yeah. All right. So there you go. That's the significance of that piece, trying and doing, and why I really like it. Let's see what else is going on. You guys, Colson Barfield, shalom from Pensacola, Florida. Hopefully, Noah, Hurricane Gardens, or Rocky. Let me see. All right, I didn't quite get what you meant by that. Hopefully, Noah, Hurricane Gardens, or Rocky. Peppers, celery, tomatoes, and herbs. Sounds like a good planting. Do you have any herbs that are perennial? I got the duck taking the bath over there. Because I like planting herbs, but I like the ones that I can plant, like mint. There was mint right across the way from that pear tree. Lemon balm. There's lemon balm right down at the base of that peach tree, and they, because they're the mint family, they spread. They keep going. Um, and I have oregano down in my greenhouse that is, started with one plant, it spread out, it's about a foot wide, and then it started throwing off baby plants. So I have two of them, the baby plants that I transplanted into pots that I'm going to give to some of my kids. Hopefully, no hurricanes. The garden's doing great. Hopefully, no hurricanes. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Hurricanes do a lot of destruction down there. Got peas and garlic going already. Excellent. And yes, yes, I do. Oregano, thyme, and my parsley comes back too. That's awesome. I planted a thyme plant and then my chickens dug it up. So I replanted it and hopefully it survived that. They also dug up a sage plant I put in there that was doing pretty good. I really didn't think they'd get up into there. They're in a half plastic bucket. It's about 10 inches off the ground and it's full of nice dirt and it's full of weeds around it. I pulled the weeds out, put the sage in there. It was doing great. I come back, the sage is laying sideways. They'd gotten in there to take their dust bath and upended it. So I hope it survives. And then I have parsley. I have a flat Italian parsley that I planted last year. And because of the drought and everything got away from me and I didn't water. I'm like, everything is like, you have to survive on your own this year. And it threw off a bunch of baby plants. So that one corner of the greenhouse is that parsley, which I haven't really used to cook yet, and I haven't dehydrated yet, but I will. The other corner is that oregano, and so they've got the two back corners going, and I'm fine with that. I do not feel the need to have to pull them all out. I planted Hungarian parsley seed, and it seems very resilient. There's Vicky Fulkerson. Shalom, sister. Vicky was at the Shavuot, did the Shavuot herself. What did you think of the gathering? I need to run. Wish I could visit more. Have a blessed day. Smile, Mary. Take care. I hope your move goes well. Thanks for dropping by. And take care of your babies. Let's see what else is going on. Loved it. I loved that gathering too. It was good. Sharon, were you able to do anything for Shavuot? I don't know if she's still on here. She may have just dropped by for a minute. Let me give you guys a minute for your comments after I've asked my question. What's up, Duck? Nice mic. Oh, thanks. I forgot I was wearing it. I hope it's working. Got all sorts of stuff going on. If you see me do this, it's because there are mosquitoes flying around too, and I've got to catch them before they land on me and tear me up. I don't always have the mic. I did something that PJ does. I started to um, I taped a bag to the tripod, and I've got the mic in there and a little wipe cloth for the phone. Part of a tour, we wound up having to stay home, didn't get to go where we planned, was a bummer, but made the best of it. Well, and that's what you do. You try to get together, but if you can't, you still have whatever celebration you're going to have. And there's probably food related to the feast, but I don't know what that would be besides the bread. There's Anthony Jensen. Good morning. That's probably really loud with the mic. Sorry, y'all. The rain this year really helped out a lot. The rivers and dams are full capacity still. Yeah, and parts of California had flooding this year, right? I forget the name of the lake there that drained all the way down, and they were finding cars and bodies and everything. But I'm sure with how much rain you all got that, you're back up to past drought. There's Errol Cadillac. Good morning, SJ. Have you newcomers, we also started this live stream out by, uh, I asked if you had seen the podcasts and the live streams I've done lately, just because I wanted to hear what you thought about them. Let me itch my eye a little bit. Ugh, dry eyes. Yes, it's true. Folsom Lake is 90 to 100%. Excellent. Drought is rough. It really is. It killed. I had several blueberry plants that we just couldn't get the water to, and they died. I had things in my garden not do well. It's a thing. Sorry, you guys. I've also been sick. I've had this thing now for like 2 or 3 weeks. It's really annoying. I've been to the hospital once for an infected tick bite. Like, it's been a really busy time. Water is indeed life. It's very important for growing stuff. There's no doubt about that, food included. What else can I talk about with y'all? Had some chicks born. I told you that. The chicks, the mom had settled in a tarp above the kennel where I keep some roosters and stuff. And I'm like, when she hatches those chicks out, where are they going to go? They can't stay in that tarp sling she was in. And so when we got back from our Shabbat service, she was on the ground, all fluffed out like a broody hen will be. And there was a chick next to her upside down, peeping. And so I grabbed that chick and I stuck it under her. And she was about 2 feet from a travel kennel. So I opened the door of that and I started pulling chicks out from under her. She hatched out 10 or 11 chicks, put them all in there with her, shut the door. They're doing fine. On a whim, the beginning of this month, I put 19 eggs in the incubator. 3 days later, our rooster got killed. I've got 15 chicks in the brooder from those eggs. Good. Excellent. And at least half of them are going to be roosters. I've still got 5 roosters I should butcher. 2 lazy. They all live together. They all beat each other up. And now they have to move because they were in the kennel that I did special. Look at that. Look at how dirty I am already. That I did special netting around so the chicks wouldn't escape and it would be harder for like raccoons to reach through. And that's where I was keeping the roosters all winter. And so they have to be moved. That's one of the things I'm going to do today is move those roosters. I've already got a cage in the back of the Terex. Where is it? There it is. Got a cage back in there that I'm going to put them in. And then they're going to a completely different part of the property in another coop. How are you feeling from your tick bite? We got it quick, but it started out as a regular tick bite. And then like the next morning, and I itched it. Next morning, it was like double the size. Next day, it's like that big. And that's when we went in and they gave me a shot of an antibiotic. And then they sent me home with, 10 days of another oral antibiotic. And so it was 3 days before that thing went from this down to, pretty much gone. The magic of modern medicine and antibiotics. Because I had already tried 2 different topical ones, but once your skin heals over top of the bite, there's no oxygen getting in there. And so the bacteria that love to grow without oxygen go nuts. They love it. Another treatment that's a little bit riskier that I've done in the past is to puncture the skin above that big red spot and put the topical stuff on so that the topical can get in there and the air can get in there. But it's risky because if I use a pin. The pinholes cover up, then that other uh, bacteria is going to start growing again. So, hey, it's like the third time I've had that happen out here. I pray that you get well soon and hopefully no Lyme. Very, very small risk of Lyme in my area, very small. So I'm not very concerned about that. I'm just concerned about the under the skin bacteria growing because they can be voracious. It's not the one that's the flesh eater, but just it's probably streptococcus, but it can grow really fast when the you have no oxygen getting to it. Yeah, it's a concern north, but it's not in my area. Oh, so I've got a video I want to upload, and it's on the computer, and the Wi-Fi is too slow, so I can't even get it up. That was an adventure. I was going to do a video. I can't talk about that though; it'll ruin the video. Um, oh, here's my other question to y'all. I wanted to know what you thought. If you're familiar with the Ten Commandments, and I'm sure most of you are familiar, what do you think the world would look like without them? Because that was a thought I had talking about the law and the spirit. Just the 10, not even all the other ones, just the 10, where honor your mother and father, have no other gods before him, don't steal, don't commit adultery, don't envy your neighbor's possessions, don't bear false witness, which means it's not exactly lying. It's more like saying somebody stole that car and it was Bob when you know for a fact it wasn't Bob. So it is kind of lying, but it's also your witness is false. What you're saying you saw is wrong. Um, Without those, because worldwide governments, so many of them have part of the Ten Commandments in their laws, a very good part of those things. So if everyone was allowed to steal and everyone was allowed to murder, just like this is part of life, we just know this is going to happen. People are going to steal, people are going to murder, people are going to dishonor their parents, um, not take care of their parents, not respect their parents. What do you think that world would look like? Rob Payne, good morning. I hope you're doing great. Thanks. Hit the thumbs up, said, sorry, the prepper, daughter working on a chicken enclosure, plenty of berries for jam making. Now the garden won't be destroyed by the chickens. Third of an acre could do a lot for food, plus fishing everywhere. Exactly. That's a perfect setup right there. Hey, sister, just got in from the garden. Excellent, Pharma. She always grows a wonderful garden. If you are not subscribed to Pharma, you should be, because her garden is amazing. The lamp giver said, it would be like now, a world without rules to stop people's behavior, to stop robbing, to stop murdering, to stop beating people up. Um, your individual property, not safe. I mean, there is some argument that right now in America, that is what is going on. I think it would look like Chicago right now, right? Rob, how's your vacation? Are you finished or are you still hanging out, funning and sunning? Well, I'm at the station, so I better go find something to do. Thanks for the live. Thanks for stopping by. It's always good to see you. Heart of a Torah woman. There would be so much chaos. Everyone would be doing whatever they wanted. Nope, back home and mostly back to reality now. Do you have a garden in? Are you doing any hunting and fishing? Come on now, y'all. I gave you a very good question. What do you think the world would be like? Are some of you thinking, wow, okay, I'd love to go steal? Wow, I just had a thought about that myself. Isn't it California where you can walk into a store and just walk out with less than $1,000 worth of stuff and you won't be prosecuted? Isn't that San Francisco? All those stores closed down because people were doing exactly that. Let me think about that for a minute. I just watched a reel of a guy in Walmart. It was in California. Walmart had put tents behind a locked glass case because it's the alternative housing now in California, and people were just walking in and stealing them and walking out with them. Arrow cap, like total chaos. That's everywhere right now, says Lynn. May do a garden. We actually got some rain, almost 9 inches for the month. That's a lot. So might actually be able to produce something this year. No place to fish, but hunting is always part of the plan. You can do that anywhere. They can't go after anyone anymore, says CLFJR2. Well, you can't do it in my area. I'll tell you that right now. And you can't do it in the state next to mine because that people there are not going to put up with that nonsense. It's it's California's law they made for themselves, and then Walmart is suffering because of it. Not that I care. Walmart makes billions of dollars a year and sends most of it to China because that's where everything's getting produced. But they did it to themselves. 9 inches in a month is a lot, especially in Tejas. I thought you were speaking of nowadays, world without laws nor morals, right? I work at Kroger and we cannot stop them. Wow. Do you live in California? I wouldn't work there, quite frankly, because you don't know what the reaction would be if you did try to stop them. You're not a peace officer, you're a clerk, and you do not have a legal right to do a whole lot. Plus, you're protecting someone else's property. Kroger owns everything in that store. So it'd be like you're a security guard if you stopped them, and you're not. And you don't get the benefits of it. You don't get the benefits of being paid like a security guard or trained like a security guard. Hey, there's J.A. Dudley. Shalom. He is another moderator. He is a wonderful brother, does all sorts of techie stuff, refuge medical live streams on Instagram and videos and stuff for Bear. And it's just very talented brother. He and his wife are moderators here, both, when they can come. If we try or touch their cart to stop them, we can be fired. So Kroger is saying, let people steal stuff from our stores, which is outrageous to think about too. REI and maybe Walmart left Portland because of frequent looting. I knew that, yeah. And we were in Colorado, and REI is, I think, a members only store. So they already had, like, you have to have an ID card to get in. So people walking out, they probably, like, this is very much, REI is not about that, right? REI is about making the money. Their stuff is expensive. No, in Ohio. Wow. So Ohio is allowing that too? Is my wife Lori, says Rock Lick Ranch. Okay, okay. So Ohio has a law now that you can let people steal your possessions and they won't get, arrested for it. Shalom, Rock Lick Ranch. Wow, absolutely sounds like a full season of rain. Kroger does. Kroger, the company, allows people to steal stuff. Doesn't that seem weird to you? I mean, it seems really weird to me because businesses like Kroger are businesses. They're supposed to be making people money. They have to pay money to get the stuff into the store. So why would they want to lose money at all, ever? Most of the Democratic states, you can't call the cops unless $900. Is Ohio a Democratic state? I didn't know that. Wanted to expound on my statement, regardless of the 10 being part of civil law, only if the law is written on our hearts does it stop lawlessness. If civil law stopped crime, we wouldn't need police. Well, how many people actually have faith? I think faith and, well, morality is faith-based. Morals come from the law. They do. Um, so I think it's Thomas Jefferson who said the kind of government we set up will only work if it's people with faith. And he said Christian. But I mean, it would cover, you know, being a Torah keeper and a good Muslim, not, because there's a lot of, well, you know, in the Muslim world, sin hidden is nine tenths forgiven. Like, but our government is predicated, uh, stop using big words, SK. Our government is based on a moral people. Like the citizens are supposed to keep themselves in check so that you don't have to have a huge police force. But what has happened is our government has gotten more and more lax about enforcing laws and keeping laws. Like, look at our border. The Fourth Amendment says they're supposed to keep the border secure, and they're just, and have been. This is not under Biden only. Way before Biden, the laws and the rules down there at the border were very lax. How do I know? My brother used to work there, and he would tell me all about it. So this government and morality has to be the people. And if you're my age, you understood that as a child. And I have watched as our country has gotten less and less and less moral since I was a child, since the 60s. And that's why we're having this ridiculousness. It is why the father picked a little bitty group of people and said, if you keep my laws, I'm going to do wonderful things with you. And why he trashed Egypt, because people who keep laws stand out from those who don't. Their lives are more peaceful, they produce a lot, and it's all because they're able to self govern. And that's my opinion. The loss of self governing, the whole message, like every show you see on TV, most movies are like, do what you want to do, you be you, boo. As long as you're true to yourself. Well, that's satanic. That is the satanic creed, is do whatever you want. Be true to only yourself. That's satanic. So, I mean, you've heard me say this a million times. Um, most of the, yeah, yeah, very well said, Lamp Keeper. Truth in the word. Shalom. You are new on the live streams and maybe even in commenting. I saw something. Maybe you just came on Instagram too, something. So does Ross's, Hobby Lobby, Marshall's, Walmart, Target, Kirkland's, Dollar General, etc. Everywhere. And it's absolutely disgusting, says Lynn. Man, Hobby Lobby? The Christian owned company is letting people steal stuff? My wife and I try to stay home, and when we must go out, I'm like PJ, my buddy on my hip. My wife used to work at A&P in Connecticut. She tried to stop a thief. The store didn't care. Yeah, and your wife is putting yourself in danger. That's the second thing I wanted to say about that. That thief may turn around and shoot her, stab her, punch her. Like, it is not your job to try to stop these guys unless your person is being threatened. You know what I mean? Like, it's dangerous. Crest Foods and OKC will have you beaten on the store floor for shoplifting, right? There are some states where this stuff is not happening. And quite frankly, I mean, and it's presumptuous of me to say this, but you should move. Honestly, if you're in a state that's allowing this, it's not going to get better unless the politics change. And that's got to take a lot of energy to make that happen. Move. Move to a state where you can still have a stable life. That's the beauty and the wonder of living in a united state, a republic. Because if you don't like the flavor in one state, you can go to another one. That's just my 2 cents. And yes, I understand that our national government right now is socialist and communist. Who would you rather be going through that with than people who want law and order, right? I think that makes sense. All right, let's see what you have to say. Witnessed a guy loading expensive meat in his backpack. Security guard stopped him and beat him into compliance. See, there you go. I like big words, says Lampkeeper. Carrie Stennett, shalom. Dang, Okie, I used to see shoplifters getting tackled Not anymore, says Highlander. Sorry I can't stay. Things do. Y'all be safe. I have to go too, guys. We'll give it another 5 minutes. Um, but I do have a lot of stuff I have to get done today. Kroger is afraid of lawsuits. You got to have money to bring a lawsuit, and you have to have the willpower and the energy to bring a lawsuit. That's ridiculous. They could fight that in court with their own lawyers. I think there's more going on here. I could be wrong. It is coming to every state, says Timothy Young. No, it's not. Where is that state? OKC is Oklahoma City. Shalom, Constitutional Homestead. Nice channel name. You got 5 minutes, Constitutional Homestead, so if you want to say something, spit her out. It's cooperative, it's corporate policy. If you have Kroger in your state, I guarantee it's the same there, said Rock Lake Ranch. Mrs. Lovely Dudley, late but shalom. I don't see much theft where we are. She's in Canada. It's crazy in the Democrat, some of the Democrat states here, Illinois, California. I don't know about New York. I'm not even really watching New York. New York's always been a little crazy. See, live stream's got to end. Water gone. It's not true. Just joking. What do you guys think? Especially you guys living in those states. What do you think? Do you see your state turning around? Do you think that you should get more police? Like, was your police force reduced? What do you think is the answer? I don't think people dare out here, said Pharma. Saw a guy a few years back get tased at Walmart for theft. Needs to happen more often, says Constitutional Homestead. I mean, in places like Chicago, I really think they need a redo because Chicago, and I never visited there, but I know that it's, was very well known, even internationally. And it had, things to it that people wanted to go visit there. But like an inner city that's really run poorly, it's easy when you have so many people crammed in together for stuff to just fall apart. You need some kind of structure. And when I say structure, I mean the physical, but also the legal. You need order to have people on top of each other all the time. Otherwise, it's in the Bible. You're not meant to live that way. And you put rats in housing like that, and they start eating each other. And I'm not saying people are rats, but I'm saying people are no different. It gets very difficult. And on the flip side, you also get cultures that come out of that kind of gang culture does that, but also the like in New York City when all the immigrants first showed up, and it's like the 30s, you get all the Irish definitely having an Irish culture, and all the Italians definitely having an Italian culture, and all the who else am I trying to think of? Eastern Europeans. You get there and they've got the way they want to dress and the foods they want to eat and so on. So being in a pressure cooker does that as well. Lori's been a cashier at Kroger for 30 years, and most people don't see what goes on, but it happens every day. Not always tons of groceries, but there's theft every single day. And that's the individual people being okay with stealing, either being told, brought up, taught, we don't have a lot of money, so just steal what you want, right? Don't work hard and try. Don't move out of your area. Stay where you are, stay poor, and steal. I mean, really, truthfully, though, all this crap goes back to the Homestead family. If they allow disobedience and disrespect, this is the outcome. It's exactly right. Starts in the home. And there's some reels on the Instagram right now of parents who are like, we're not having that, you know, and I won't go into it, but you can get on there and you'll see them where there is a backlash, and it's coming in another part of our culture where people are trying to improve their children, make sure they're disciplined, give them guidelines, and boost them up, get them achieving and moving in an upward direction. We've got it all here in America, you guys. We're finally allowed in the States. Don't know if I want to go. Trying to think where a good place for you to go from Canada would be. Like I would have said Seattle 15 years ago, but I wouldn't tell you to go there now. Obviously, don't go to Chicago or New York. Like you're probably right to stay where you are. Colville, Washington. It's a little mountain town. Colville. Colville was adorable 15 years ago or 20 years ago. I don't know if it still is. Had a great little museum, local museum, beautiful scenery, lakes, all that. That's nice. I haven't been there a long time now. It's not a state then because it happens in Springfield and St. Louis. It's definitely, oh, you border Maine. Maine, you can probably go to safely. You can probably go to Maine and have some lobster. I think Maine, it's liberal, but I don't think it's like dangerous. Most of the state is forest. It's not a state thing because I have Springfield and St. Louis. It's definitely a city thing. It's not a rural thing. Move rural people. Come out of here, my people. What state is good to go to? Oklahoma. They are so anti-crime in Oklahoma. Agreed, Lynn. The northern mountain towns are as quiet as ever, even here in California. Couldn't pay enough to go to any big city, let alone Chicago. Springfield, Missouri is bad enough, in my opinion. Well, there you go. All right, y'all, I am out. It has been an hour. I've got to go get on washing dishes and the rest of my chores. Appreciate y'all coming. Appreciate your comments. Appreciate that you're members and supporters of the channel. I'm always happy to talk about all sorts of things. Please do not be afraid to bring up a topic. I love discussing many, many different things. Thank you all for being here. I hope you have a very blessed day. And shalom. Thank you, Ms. J. Thank you. Shalom, George. We're shutting down right now. I'm so sorry you came in right at the end. Watch it when it turns into a video. All right. Bless you.